Your birthday comes, you wake up, you make coffee, you go through your morning like nothing is different. Maybe you scroll past the notifications without responding. Maybe you don't mention it to anyone at work. And if someone tries to make it a moment, if someone pushes the celebration, something inside you contracts, something quiet and fast, like you've been caught wanting something you weren't supposed to want. Most people will tell you that's just maturity, that birthdays are just another day, that you're simply above needing the attention. But psychologists see it very differently. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand the 3 deep reasons why people stop celebrating their own existence and what that silence is actually working to protect. Here's where everyone gets it wrong. They assume people like you minimize birthdays because you're grounded, humble, evolved past the need for external validation. But that framing misses everything underneath the surface. Because this isn't about indifference, and it isn't about maturity. It starts with something that was decided for you long before you were old enough to choose what kind of person you wanted to be. There's a specific psychological pattern buried inside this behavior, and the moment you see it clearly, you won't be able to look at yourself the same way again. Researchers in attachment psychology have found that people who consistently minimize personal milestones tend to score significantly higher on emotional self-suppression, not emotional absence, emotional suppression. The feelings are there, the wanting is there, but the nervous system has learned deeply, structurally, that expressing personal needs creates vulnerability. That asking to be seen, even once a year, carries a specific kind of risk. So the question isn't why you stopped celebrating your birthday. The question is, when did celebrating start to feel like something you had to protect yourself from? Here is reason number 1. And this one is going to land differently than you're expecting. Think back to a birthday when something went quietly wrong. It doesn't have to be a dramatic moment. Maybe the day was simply overlooked. Maybe someone turned it into their own moment. Maybe you let yourself get excited and the response you got back was silence or something smaller than you'd hoped. The brain is a pattern machine. One experience like that is enough for it to file a permanent note. Wanting something on this day leads to disappointment. So over years, your nervous system started doing something intelligent. It began lowering the expectation before the day ever arrived, before anyone got the chance to fail you. You started treating your birthday like a normal day, not because you didn't care, but because caring had already cost you something real. Now, here's where it gets more complicated. Reason number 2 is about control. When you minimize your birthday, you own the outcome completely. No one can disappoint you if you never gave anyone a reason to show up. No one can forget if forgetting was never made to matter. This is a grief avoidance strategy. It's emotionally intelligent. It kept you functioning. But it also quietly closed the door, and part of you has been standing in front of that door for a long time without fully realizing it. That open loop, the one that started the first time celebration felt unsafe, it doesn't resolve on its own. It just gets quieter, more automatic. And that uncomfortable contraction you feel when someone tries to celebrate you, that's not humility. That's the door. The one you learned to keep shut before anyone else could shut it first. Stay with this. Because reason number 3 is the one most people never hear, and it explains why this pattern doesn't stay contained to birthdays. It follows you into relationships, into how you receive love, into how much space you allow yourself to take up in the lives of people who actually want you there. Reason number 3 is the deepest one. People who treat their birthday like a normal day are often people who carry a quiet background level belief that they are not quite deserving of being centered. Not in a dramatic, self-pitying way, in a soft, almost invisible way. There is a belief, sometimes unspoken, often unconscious, that needing acknowledgement is too much to ask. That simply existing isn't enough of a reason to be marked. Psychologists refer to this as a deficit in celebratory self-worth. You can receive love when you've earned it, when you've been useful, productive, needed. But love just for being here? Just for existing on this particular day, in this particular life? That feels like something you haven't quite qualified for yet. And that belief didn't arrive from nowhere. It was shaped somewhere, by someone, by an environment that taught a younger version of you to take up less space so that the people around you could be more comfortable. Here's the question I want you to sit with. Is the voice that says birthdays are no big deal actually yours, or does it belong to someone from a long time ago? Here is what I want you to understand. Treating your birthday like a normal day is not a personality trait. It is a coping strategy, a layer of protection built by a version of you who genuinely needed it at the time. And that version of you did something remarkable. They found a way to keep going, to need less, to function inside disappointment without breaking. That took real strength. But it also quietly took something from you, the experience of being genuinely celebrated. Not for what you produce, not for what you give, just for who you are and the fact that you exist. People who minimize their own birthdays are not indifferent. They are quietly, exhaustedly brave. They learn to want nothing so that the gap between wanting and receiving would never have the chance to hurt them again. But you're not in that room anymore. The door you closed, it can open again. Not because someone gave you permission, because you finally understand exactly why you closed it. If this video reached something inside you, drop a comment below with just one word. How does it feel when someone remembers your birthday without being reminded?